What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fast Break. I'm one half of the co-host of Fast Break, Davidson Crooks. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
How you doing, man? Everything is going pretty good. I've been zoned in watching one of my favorite shows, as I was telling you before, but everything is going pretty good, man.
I hear you, man. Things are going good, and tonight, the first half of the Last Dance, and tonight's preview, what I saw on ESPN, going to dive in, somewhat, some to that Pacers, the 98 conference finals with the Pacers going 7 games. And, how, each team discussed how they should have went over and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Also, with the NBA, softly allowing facilities to be open with strict guidelines. We're going to talk about, how soon can we see that, how NBA actually will get back and running. And lastly, we're going to talk about tonight, Spencer Dinwiddie wants us to pay for his contract, basically. So And before we get to that Spencer thing, he did get $1,000.
Yeah. I looked at it, and I was just trying to figure out, was this kind of a joke or anything? Because it is May, it's not April, so no April Fool's jokes going on. But he's serious. Did you see the number that he had up there that he's trying to reach?
Oh yeah, like 25, at least 25 million.
Yeah. So, what would be the point of doing that?
I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you knew this or not, but he's been trying to get his contract turned to Bitcoin. And I'm a person that does stocks and stuff, but I'm not too familiar with the Bitcoins and cryptos and stuff like that. And he's very heavily involved in that. And he's tried multiple occasions trying to, try and get his contract converted into that stuff. And I was like, I guess. I don't know what we were trying to do, but, like I told you yesterday, I was surprised if he gets to 1,000, but he got to $1,000.
Yeah. It's as crazy as it may sound to us, there are people that, there's so many people in the world, right? Everybody have their own rights to feel how they feel and their opinions, which is just great. So, we may say, okay, well, hell, this sounds ridiculous. But then you have some people who will be the exact opposite, right? You have a lot of different people saying, well, yeah, of course we should pay, we should help this, that, and the third. So, I doubt that he gets to 25 million, highly. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over 15 grand.
Man, if he get that, I'll salute him.
Yeah. The reason why I say that, though, is because I just think that, people have their opinions. People feel differently about different things, right? So there might be a lot of people that feel the same way that we feel. But I think that there's a lot of people, right, that say, well, you know what? I don't mind helping him out. So how many people do you think, if you give me a round number of how many people we have that live in America, what would you say?
Oh, geez. I would say at least 400,
just give me
400 million.
400 million, right?
Yeah, 400. Yeah.
So if let's say you say 400 million.
Yeah.
Let's say just 0.1% of that agree with him and give him $1. That's $4 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm pretty sure, like if you go out and ask like a lot of people in your neighborhood or whatever, how do you feel about this? A lot of people would disagree, but there's a lot of people in a different area that totally agrees with, oh, well, you know what, we should support. And some people will not only give $1, some people may give 5, 100, 200. So, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not giving a dime.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm just saying.
Oh no, and
so
it's kind of curious, you know, the GoFundMe page he put up and the pictures he put up. You know, he got the Brooklyn Nets jersey, but then he put like the Lakers and the Clippers as well. What you thought about that as well? Like he's like trying to signal, you know, to somebody like, hey, okay. I got Kyrie here, and I know I can start and be a very competent star in the league, but
yeah,
I look at these other two places that don't really have like a strong point guard, a scoring one at that. I mean, well, the Clippers got Lou Williams, so, but still. What you think about that, putting the Lakers and Clippers up there as well?
I'm thinking right now this is all the selling point, just because the fact is he's trying to get. I was reading he was saying that he was signing a 1-year deal with any team that most fans would vote for. So obviously he knows that the Clippers and the Lakers are, you know, like atop of the league right now. So he's trying to use it to, hey, you can pay my contract, you know, for this. If you want me to go play for the Lakers with LeBron and AD, then I would do that. I would sign a 1-year deal with them. If you want me to go sign with the Clippers and play with Kawhi and Paul George, I would do that. So it's a selling point. It's kind of like he's trying to act as if he's a free agent but get paid at the same time.
Yep.
So that's why. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie. The way things are going right now, people are gonna try anything.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he probably was sitting at home, maybe a little intoxicated, maybe, and probably around a couple of his friends or whatever, and was like, "Hey, we should try this." And it was an idea that came to mind, and somebody was like, "Man, you know what? Might as well try to just see what the hell happens." And he tried it. So now, you know, he's like, yeah, obviously the two teams, big LA teams, they're duking it out. They're kind of pulling towards each other's free agents to grab a free agent to go to their team to make sure they don't go to the opposing team. So I think it's a selling point. I mean, he's a pretty good player. You know, to me, I think I actually got him on my fantasy team last year, so he's not bad. But I don't know, man. This is one of those wild moments, like kind of like, are you serious? Kind of moments to me right now. Like I'm still kind of like, wait, is this for real? Like, is this dude serious?
And here's another thing, you know. close to 30 million people are out of the job right now, or like on unemployment benefits or stuff like that, if they can get them. And this dude is in the asking for 25 mil, which I can't hate his hustle, but you know, it's just kind of like wrong place, kind of wrong time at the moment, type of deal. But you know, I hope Spencer, you know, I hope he gets his goal. You know, I doubt it. You know, a lot of people don't know who Spencer Dinwiddie is. Now, if he really trying to get to sell his points and we see him pop up on the Good Morning America or something like that tomorrow, then a lot of people probably call for his head maybe. But
Yeah.
but until then, we'll see how it finishes out for him. But D-Lock, we're at the final stages of the Last Dance, like the first 10 episodes. And, tonight kind of, highlights the 98 conference finals, against the Pacers, Reggie Miller and crew, Mark Jackson, coached by Larry Bird. He was the guy in the squad. Jalen Rose, Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Rick Smiths.
Yeah.
God, was Austin Crozier was a part of that team, was he? Or man, I'm thinking of like a year early with him. Chris Mullin was a part of that squad as well.
Yeah.
That
team was loaded.
Oh yeah, they were loaded. I'm trying to look up and see. So Sam Perkins on that squad as well.
You see Perkins?
Yeah, Sam Perkins.
Was he on that squad? I believe he might. He might was just off. Let me double check.
Man, yeah, they were really deep, man. Who else?
They had to be real deep.
And Travis Best as a backup point guard. Jermaine O'Neal wasn't there yet, Terry. I think he wasn't there yet. I think, God, what year did Jermaine came out? Ooh, boy.
Yeah, he was there in 98.
Oh, he was there?
He was there 98, 99.
Okay. I know he's there at least for a couple years. And by that time, he was just like a straight jump shooter.
O'Neal may have came out around he can't come around maybe 96, 97.
Let me look at, because he got drafted by Portland.
Yep. He got drafted in 96. So he wasn't on the team then. He came in a couple years later.
Yeah.
Or came to Indianapolis later. So but regardless, those guys were really deep, man. They had everything.
Yeah,
they caused a lot of problems for Michael Jordan. We're gonna definitely find that out tonight.
So my question to you, D-Lock, do you think, if the Pacers won that series, could you see them winning the championship against the Utah Jazz, or do Stockton Malone get that first ring over the Pacers, or the Bulls still kind of find a way to finish out that series?
I'm thinking right now, obviously, the way it seemed like with the Pacers, because I remember watching the 30 for 30 on Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Like, it's like they were always one game short, or a couple games away, and it's like they just could not break through. So, for me, I'm thinking that if they actually did break through with beating the Bulls, we might be seeing different champs in '98, because we are talking about beating the Bulls, 5-time, NBA champ Bulls at that time. So, if you cross that hurdle, we could be looking at a different Pacers team. Because, Indiana's already known for his basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So that in NASCAR. So, like, if they do get past the Bulls, and as deep as they were, like, because Jordan was the X factor. So, the Bulls don't beat the Jazz without Jordan. So anything the Bulls done, they needed Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Pacers can make that run past them, we might be looking at some different champs, man. Like, that's the honest truth. And Reggie Miller is still one of the greatest NBA players. So we could be looking at a different results right now, to be honest, in my eyes.
Yeah, and you had like Larry Bird at the helm, his first year of coaching, And on a side note, I always thought Larry was a very good, competent coach. You know, I kind of wish, he maybe stuck it out maybe another year or two and kind of, see if he can win on that squad. But, I thought Larry, did a great job. And Jalen Rose has touched on this sometimes, talk about Larry Bird and stuff like that. At different points during that Pacer run, it's like, especially that the late 90s and early 2000s, it seemed like a few mistakes here and there, like you touched on, like one game away or like a different matchup here and there. Because Jalen Rose talked about in the past, like Larry came and told him, like, hey, I should have kept you in a so-and-so game. And we could have won that, or very doing different things that could have, kept that team, could have got them in the championship, so to speak. So
one or two different things hurts everything.
Oh yeah,
and that's what it seemed like when we talk about the Pacers. Is it's like, man, we could have did, or we should have done, or if only. You know what I mean? So that's always been the case. They've been that team that, I mean, come on now, we're talking about for a while. It was the Bulls, it was the Celtics for a while, the Knicks, and the Pistons were making their run, and the Pacers. But the Pacers just could not get over the hump, which all these other teams did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pistons did it. The Celtics, we know what they done. So Bulls, so it was always something. Another team that's falling in that same category right now is the Knicks.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I said, I think if they do get past the Bulls, then beating Jordan and the Bulls at that time, they had to boost your confidence, no matter when it was, anytime. So and that's what's gonna make this episode, these two episodes extra, is just to see what kind of happened, how things were broke down. Because I'm still on the fact that Jordan made it seem like Gary Payton was just a little guy to him last episode. So we're talking about a great defensive player. So to Jordan, it seemed like he was just so much better than everybody. So if you were to knock off him and the Bulls, the sky's the limit now. You beat the Bulls, Pacers not worrying about Carmelo and John Stockton.
No. And even, if the role players, if the Pacers got to the finals, even the role players of the Jazz, like Antoine Carr or Greg Ostertag, what's the other dude's name? Greg Foster, Jeff Hornacek, Howard Isley, Shannon Anderson, Brian Russell. Ooh, I'm just going to top my head. Who else was there? David Benoit. I feel like I'm missing somebody else. But anyways, like you said, that confidence, I went back and watched that Pacers and Lakers, finals back in the day, that game one, in the preview in that before the game started. Reggie Miller talked about, him getting 12 years, getting to the finals, getting to that point, and, having that jitters and stuff like that. Because, like, getting to the finals is like the first time for everyone there back in 2000. And if they got over the hump and beat the Bulls, those butterflies probably wouldn't have went away come that point against the 2000 Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that roster right now for the 98 conference finals. Travis Best, Austin Crozier, Antonio Davis, another guy that you would like on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Davis, Fred Hoiberg, known for his three-point shooter. Mark Jackson, Derek McKee, Alabama dude who can play. Reggie Miller, Chris Mullin, Mark Pope, as a backup big. Jalen Rose, Rick Smiths.
Yeah, that's a lot of defense that you hear in that. But see, that's what the West. I'm sorry, not the West. That's what the East had a lot of, or known for. Even then, is that okay? We got this defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember back then how they played was a lot different than I guess they could say how it is now being soft. You were throwing elbows and people getting beat up on the court, leaving with bloody noses and stuff like that back then. So they had the bodies for that. So if this team does take it past the Bulls, then we're looking at a totally different scenario. A totally different scenario. We might be it's like rewriting history somewhat. So it's just it's one of those what could have been. Dang, if this would have happened, maybe X, Y, and Z. So it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be interesting. Now I love hearing Reggie Miller because it seemed like he was one of those players that backed up what he talked.
Yeah.
He did talk a lot, but he backed up what he talked. I remember he was talking about how he got into it with Spike Lee. So it's good to hear somebody like that talk about their love for the game, but also talk trash and back it up, which is rare. Because you have some people who will wait, as Jordan said, and it's easy for somebody to talk trash when you're up 10 or you won, but doing it, talking trash during and before, that's kind of what Reggie Miller was doing. So to see them two face off, I would love to see that.
And when they talk about this tonight, it's not the first time the Pacers and the Bulls have been matched up in the playoffs. I think, with it this time around, it's the Bulls dynasty may be broken up. You got this team led by Larry Bird that, if they can eclipse this team, they can go on a solid run. Because at that time in the East, you had no real other challengers, to be honest. I mean, the Celtics really didn't come around till at least 2000, 2001 with Pierce and Walker. The Raptors, they were slowly getting there, but it took a little while for them. The Knicks, they were still there, but they were solid. But, Patrick Ewing was getting up there in years, and his knees, old Patrick with those knee pads, that's like a sight you don't want to see.
Yeah.
And then, that Miami Heat teams with Warning and Hardaway, always kind of shot themselves in the foot to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
But,
it just seemed like around that time you had those teams were solid. It's just that, I ain't gonna lie, it seemed like you had a lot more stars there, but you just had that one player or one or two players that just on another level. Then obviously you got Jordan. So it just seemed as if, okay, the Bulls and then everybody else, 2 or 3 steps below them.
Yeah.
Just because they had Jordan. And then, Magic, like you said, Toronto, these teams were coming around. But back they had New Jersey Nets back then, right? So I think Kerry Kittles was playing around the same time, too. He was one of my favorite players to watch.
Oh, yeah, I love Kittles.
But it just seems like, they all ran into Jordan and couldn't get past him. If they did, then that's, now we're talking about a totally different, situation now. But anytime these teams tell these stories about, how good they were, what they could have done or what, things they could have done, when they say, well, we could have just got past the Bulls, then, this could have been this. So it's that scenario will be very interesting to see if, because like I said, you get past Jordan and the Bulls, especially on the high road that they were riding, in your mind, it's oh, if they can do this, then we definitely, the Jazz, we're gonna sweep them. We just beat we just beat Jordan and his crew.
Yeah, and just looking at that roster, it's like you got some young players, you got some you do got some rough riders in the Davis dudes and Antonio and Dell. And then, Reggie Miller, like you mentioned about Reggie, he ain't no punk. You're talking about a guy that's born in LA. He wasn't raised like no punk, and he always had that competitive, competition in him, spirit in him. Being with his sister, and she ain't no damn slouch herself. We talked about her in the past.
Nope. Oh yeah.
So, for him to go against Jordan in that moment, which was, potentially Jordan's, last year playing ball, he had a lot of weight on his shoulders. Like, damn, will I never get to that point? Eventually he got to the finals, and, but it's like, will I never get it? Or, do I want that satisfaction of, if I get to that point, I want to beat that man right there.
Yeah.
And Terrence saying in the chat that Cheryl went to UCLA. Cheryl went to USC actually, and Reggie played at UCLA, and Cheryl went to USC.
Yeah, she was one of those dominant players that took over at any time too. Now, so that's what made that household with those two players just back and forth, competing against each other. But that's what made Reggie so tough as well.
But let me ask you this. Let's circle back around a couple episodes ago, and there was like constant stories that it been brought up that Jerry Krause has tried to trade Scottie multiple times. Now around this time period, Krause is trying to trade Scottie will return to the draft rights of Tracy McGrady. Let's just say if Tracy was in the fold at this time, do the Bulls get over the Pacers at that point? With Tracy in fold, young Tracy McGrady?
You're saying if Tracy was in Chicago?
Yes.
And Scottie was out?
Yeah, Scottie, yeah. Because that proposed deal was Scottie going to Toronto for Tracy McGrady and another first round pick. I can't see that.
I think if Tracy McGrady was playing with Jordan, I don't think they get as far.
Yeah.
They're two different players. I mean, we seen how Tracy McGrady was. I mean, he's more an offensive player. He's not as great on defense as Scottie was. So Scottie was a player that fit in with the Bulls perfectly because of who they had around him and the fact that he didn't have to be that scorer, right? Or he didn't have to force shots or try to be the number one guy on the team like he had to when Jordan was retired. We've seen what happened when that happened.
Yeah.
So if you have two, I don't even think Tracy fits in that offense. Because I don't even think Tracy wasn't even a big-time shooter like that. I don't think he wasn't a big-time three-point shooter like that. Scottie can let it fly.
No, and, and Tracy kind of got that. I don't know how I could describe it. Like, he got that.
He's a finesser. Like, he's a person that he's a get to the rim kind of player, right? Like, he needs you to, not needs you, but he's kind of like, he's getting to the rim to get his buckets. So I don't see that fitting with Jordan and that team. So that's why I'm thinking, like, if they were to play together, if that did fall through, again, now it's more so of what happened to the Bulls team, that was going on this run before they traded. We might be talking about now, what if they didn't trade Scottie? if they did trade him, because Tracy was a hell of a player, but I don't think he's a comparison to Scotty. That's just, all around player to me.
Yeah, and Tracy, he's more laid back when he plays. I mean, when kind of imagine him come up the court, because sometimes with me, I like my guards kind of going like bring up the court quick. Tracy was never kind of that guy that bringing up quick like that. I mean, he kind of chooses his styles, but he wasn't that, aggressive type of player.
Nope.
And, the way he was, which he eventually grew into, he wasn't the type of dude. And, how laid back he is, compared, to be with Michael, it's like, I don't know. It's a good thing that Michael probably like shot that down and don't trade Scotty.
I don't think they work. That's just me. I just think that this duo of Scotty and Jordan just was one of a kind that you couldn't plug somebody else into one of the other spots and say, okay, well, it's going to work the same way. Even though they still have Phil Jackson. Yeah. It's just, it seemed like it was a perfect match to me. Like, it's the same thing with Jordan. I'm sorry, not Jordan, with Kobe. Kobe and Shaq had this dominant, force with them too, that duo. I don't think you can plug in another player, and they even tried it with Dwight Howard, even though he was a little different, but they tried it with Dwight and it didn't fit the same. So if you take out Scotty and you put Tracy, like, it's not just about the offensive part. Now you're talking about the defense, the whole, chemistry with these players. How do you run your offense? Because Tracy's kind of similar. He's not I can say he's kind of similar to like a James Harden and Russ player. What I mean by that is they want the floor to be open so they can do whatever they want. They want to come down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he played. Now, he can shoot a little, but he wasn't this, okay, well, you better let me pop this three. He's not going to always drink. So I don't know if him and Jordan work together. I mean, Jordan will find a way, but I don't see it being as great as Scotty and Jordan was.
Yeah, it's like a tough thing to say. And, we get what Krause's intentions were, but, kind of looking at it now, it really don't make sense. And, we've seen Jordan around high school kids before, like a Kwame Brown. And, how that relationship worked out. And, it's just, if that pairing happened, I don't see them winning much. I mean, I see them winning, but they ain't winning no title. And then plus, if you get to the finals with the Tracy McGrady, you gotta go play in what I call no call Utah, because you get no calls if you play against the Jazz. But anyways,
yeah,
yeah. Playing that environment, playing, with those fans, plus Stockton Malone, and all the KG veterans they have. It's just like maybe Tracy set up and play well, or maybe he'll falter a little bit.
I mean, like I said, he was a great player, but that duo, man, 33 and 23 can't be compared.
Oh, no.
It's just what it is.
Oh, no.
Simply what it is. So I'm glad that trade didn't go through. I mean, it's good to talk about this because we know, dang, that was Tracy. He could have been with Jordan. Okay, cool. But definitely glad it didn't happen at all.
And, And then, and we know that, Jordan and crew eventually beat the Pacers. And, they eventually beat the Jazz, in that finals. But I want to ask you this. And kind of like Reggie Miller's kind of point of view. When he lost that series, you think he felt defeated? It's like, because him, along with guys like Steve Smith and other guys that always, trying to beat Jordan and stuff like that, and never felt like, like, damn, if I'm ever going to get past this guy. What do you think about, him, his psyche thinking, like, damn, am I ever going to get to that point?
Talking about Reggie Miller?
Yeah, until he did in 2000, but, it's like, damn, when are we ever going to get to that point?
I think because of how he was already competing against his sister, it was more so of this is just another challenge type thing. As an athlete, everything you do is competitive. If you're going outside to go out with your parents somewhere, you want to be the first person to get in the car before your brother or your sister do. So I just think he had a competitive mindset because of how he was raised with his sister and being an athlete. So I think that I don't think he was fully defeated, but I'm thinking more so of I'm thinking that he was thinking, well, how can I get this done? Right? Like, how can I exceed this? That's what I'm thinking that is going through his mind. Because, it's not necessarily damn, like it can't be done. It was more so of, okay, well, who do we need to put on this team? Do we need a different coach? Do we, what I'm saying? Like, do we need to set up our practices different or whatever? Like, I'm thinking that Reggie went about it as if he was trying to find a solution. Now, it bothered when he couldn't get it done at, a certain while, but I'm still thinking that he was more so of trying to find a solution rather than like giving up.
And, and I'll ask you one more thing. The preview tonight saying, these Pacers teams were like the toughest team besides the Pistons teams. Do you agree with what Jordan said in that preview, saying that these Pacers teams were just as tough as the Pistons teams they went up against?
I think so. I think what made the Pistons so much more grab more attention and cause a lot more problems with Jordan, obviously, was the physicality that they brought. Like they were, we got to slow this guy down. We're not going to stop him. We're going to slow him down. We're going to beat him up. This is what's going to make him quit is what they were trying to do. So I think the Pistons were probably a little bit more talented. But I think that the Pacers were deeper. I mean, deeper as they had, their rotation was a lot smoother or better than the Pistons. So I think they were as good. I think they did give them some kind of problem, but I ain't gonna lie. I think some of this stuff Jordan is like kind of like saying just to grab a lot of people's attention. Because clearly, I go back to the Gary Payton scenario. He felt as if that was nothing.
Yeah.
And that's him showing his real feelings towards that. So, to sell the crowd, to tell them, hey, look, this is some of these teams were tough, which in a sense they were. But his mentality going into these series, going to game 1 all the way through game 7, if there was one, it was, okay, I'm this unstoppable force. Simple. So I think they were kind of tough, but I don't think they were as tough as Jordan made it seem. I think the biggest thing that Jordan had a problem with was the fact that it seemed like if you got really physical with him, you would get into his head.
Yeah.
From just by looking at a lot of things, hearing a lot about what they say, if you got into Jordan's head, if you got real physical with him, you get into his head, which you could possibly slow him down. Possibly. Not stop him, but possibly slow them down. So that seemed like what teams were planning to do. And remember I said earlier, the East, we had defensive teams. The Pacers were a defensive team, and so were the Pistons. So that's why they gave bigger issues, a bigger problem for them. When he got to playing these teams in the West, I mean, okay, you got Carmelo and John Stockton. You got a couple other guys, but they're not as physical as this gauntlet that he's going through in the East. Now, then it seems like it switched, right? Because now the East is not as what it used to be. It's kind of like it's like switched big time. The West is a lot more tough. So, I mean, I think they were kind of tough, but dude, I don't think he had too big of a problem there. That's just Jordan being Jordan. That man know he was going to pop 40 a night if he wanted to. And that's what I would love to hear some of his post-game interviews to compare him to how LeBron takes it, or LeBron has some of his post-game interviews, some of his interviews, because, you know, I remember LeBron saying that if he literally wanted to lead the league in scoring every year, he could. Jordan was kind of not showing that side of it, but now that you're seeing his last dance, we're seeing the little arrogance that he had.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I like it, though, to be honest. It's showing you, you know, so he knows he said he was a little tougher, but I'm pretty sure in the back of his head, he probably like, hell no.
And, you know, it's just, I guess that machismo, that confidence that Jordan has within himself, that, you know, okay, yeah, this team may be better than us. Yeah, this team may be tougher than us. But, you know, if we just like out hustle, you know, have that more confidence in ourselves over this team, we could be anybody. And when they finally, you know, put that together, you know, with this squad, you know, great things that happened. You know, we can't argue that. You know, great things that have happened. You know, when Jordan is at his best, when he's, you know, in his element, you know, you can call him the Nick killer. You know, you call him the Pacer killer. You know, it's just like once that mentality, you know, seeps through with him, great things happen.
It's over with. Once he get in that zone, it's over with. And he knows that. I mean, you could even see that practice with him. So, I feel like they gave him a few, you know, obviously it wasn't going to be, we're talking about the professional, you know, basketball league. So we're talking about pros, you know, it's not going to be super easy, but he just was on another level and he knew that. So he took it upon himself to make sure that he, you know, wasn't the reason for them losing any games.
Oh, no.
There had to be other reasons, you know. So as long as he did his part, you know, he had the right players around him, and then obviously he had Phil Jackson. Made everything a hell of a lot easier. So he had a couple competition. I mean, that's what made this documentary and the run that they made so great is the fact that he had to run into a Karl Malone, run into a Reggie Miller. And when he did get there, you know, he did what he had to. And that's what makes him who he is.
Yeah, and, you know, before we move on, I think one thing you take away from this series about, you know, Michael and crew is just like, if they match up well with somebody or they're better somebody, they don't take them lightly. And, as, you know, no matter how good or, you know, how sorry they are, they always take their competition seriously.
Yep. No days off.
No days off. Even in practice, okay? No days off. We got to be better than the next man. Or that next man, if we like to slack off, that next man might come kick our behind. And we don't want that at all. And, that's the one thing I kind of admire about that, seeing that in this series that, they didn't slack off, no days off. Wherever issues they had, within each other, they didn't slack off.
They fixed it.
They fixed it. No matter how big of a-hole Jordan may be at times, wherever issues they had, they, swept under the rug and went out and won.
And it's easy to do that too when you're winning all the time.
Oh yeah.
So like they got these debates or they're bothered about how arrogant Jordan is and all this stuff. But if you are winning titles every year, you're going deep in the playoffs, it's being overshadowed. I mean, you're bothered about a couple things, yeah, but it's cured when you are heading back to the NBA Finals. And what makes it even worse is more overshadowed when Jordan is not there, you're not in the NBA Finals. But then when he comes back, you are all of a sudden, championship worthy. So when this happens, it's like, well, yeah, I take with the good with the bad with that. Are you telling me if this guy's here and he says a couple of things, or he's a little arrogant, well, we're still gonna go to the championship, and he's gonna make me a better player, and I'm gonna get paid if I was to lead the Bulls? Like, how can you, most of them probably were feeling like that. Now they played a huge role, but it's like he was one of those players that made everybody around him better.
And you mentioned, guys getting paid and stuff like that, going elsewhere. Look at Steve Kerr. Look at Will Perdue. They go on to other places and still win rings. That Jordan, in fact, being part of that Bulls dynasty, you see Scottie finally getting his money going to Houston and Portland. Rodman, he was just Rodman, but he still got opportunities around the league until his career came to an end. And then of course Phil Jackson, sat out for a good couple years and came in at the right opportunity with the Lakers. You can't telegraph that type of movement right there with Phil. But, at the end, once everybody kind of got their victory, their praise and their comeuppance afterwards, after that, as we know, the Bulls kind of went to like a very, very dark period.
Yeah. And all that did was prove how big of a deal this guy was.
Mm-hmm.
So when you lose such a great player, and this might go off topic, into another sport, but we may see the same thing with the Patriots coming up. We have to see that. We'll talk about that another time, but it's just something similar of a person that makes a huge impact. They leave, and that run that you went on is just gone in a snap of a finger.
And even with Brady, leaving, they didn't go out on a high note either. It's just like, they got put out in a damn wild card game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With these Bulls, they at least went out on a high note. Everybody going their separate ways.
Yeah.
Some for the good, some for, not so good, but, it is what it is. But before we get out here, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to touch on with the NBA kind of softly open NBA facilities, and under these new openings and stuff like that, they got to follow the strict guidelines and have doctors present, temperature checks, all that stuff, not have too many players in the facilities, all that type of stuff, all the guidelines they got to go through. D-Log, with these facilities slowly opening back up, when do you see the league getting back into play, potentially?
I mean, if they're going to come back this year, so it's about to be June. So, man, I'm thinking maybe they're going to get things better. So they're going to get back practice and they're going to try to get the league started. But one, they got to decide how they're going to approach the league. Like, are they going to finish out the season or are they going to,
God, I hope not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends on how they approach it because let me see what did they finish off? How many games were they at?
Oh, it was like mid-March.
Let me see. I can find some standings real quick and double check. Yeah. So right now, the Bucks are 53 and 12. So what is that? That's about 65 games. So yeah, about 17 games.
Yeah.
Something like that. 15, 17 games. Or I'm thinking right now that it first depends on what they pick. So I'm thinking right now they pick the fact that they want to go straight to playoffs. So the 8 teams that are there go straight to the playoffs. Man, for it to start around football season, that would just be crazy if it starts around September.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Oh, that'd be crazy to do that.
So? Go ahead.
If the NBA trying to start running football season, they'd be crazy to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I give them.
That's weird to me if it was a start around that time.
Here's what I would do if I was the league. Alan Silver in charge, all that stuff, and of course, you talk with Chris Paul and the players' union and all that stuff. Where the standings are, boom, that's it. Call the season right there. Call the season right there. Give these teams a couple weeks to get back into shape, all that stuff, because some of them probably eating Popeyes and Taco Bell, all this stuff right now, and not working out. So give them a couple weeks, get back into get the wind back under them, all that stuff, and then maybe come at the start of June, start your playoffs. And if you're going to do the Vegas idea and keep these guys locked up and stuff like that, and, do the playoffs that way, do it that way. Because, I don't know if you knew this or not, but LA County just extended their quarantine for another 3 months.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So, Clippers and the Lakers, so they're gonna be at a disadvantage than a lot of different teams. So do we hear that? Okay, well, because of them having extended 3 months, the Lakers are gonna do this, or the Clippers are gonna do that, or they're excused from this X, Y, and Z. It's a lot of stuff that have to be questioned. And for me, man, if we being truly honest, how are they going to have football season and basketball season at the same time? That just doesn't even sound right.
I mean, you at least got, you got to go back to that old playoff format, kind of like we're about to watch tonight on The Last Dance. That first round, making 5 games. Then you go to your later rounds, the 7, and try and, get it done as soon as possible. Because just think about this. The Lakers and Memphis 1-8 matchup. hopefully, if they do like a 5-game format, Lakers at least win that 3-0 or 3-1. If you go to the East side, the Bucks and who was number 8? I think it was the Magic, right?
Yep.
That's that's a sweep right there. And then, how soon that other series, that 4 or 5 matchup ends, you get that team a rest day, then boom, you off to the races in the 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going to do the Vegas thing, you work with city officials, and because they talking about reopening and stuff like that, try and work best with them, and they can reopen, but just work out something that you can keep the vices away from some of these players, so to speak. Because
the only thing is, it's just a lot of different things they got to figure out. Another thing too is they're gonna have to figure out this paying situation. Like, I don't know how they break down the checks or whatever. They're gonna have to figure out how they're gonna pay them. The time. There's so many things that they would have to break down, I would think, before they actually start the season. You have to have an agreement. I think teams are asking players, do they want the season to come back? And a lot of them saying, yeah, we do. But even if you agree on bringing the season back, there's a lot of different things that they have to check off the list, right? For them to bring the season back. So now, even if they say, okay, we're going to bring the season back. Okay, now we have to agree on, like you said, a format. We have to agree on, the paying situation, the salary situation, all of that. How long does it take for them to actually come to an agreement? That's going to be, the big question. And I think that may delay it a little bit. To me, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of kinks they got to work out on. I'm pretty sure they're going through every scenario they can. It'd be kind of silly to kind of try and finish out the season, which we know, like teams like the Knicks, Pelicans, the Hawks are out of contention. So why waste try to get 30 NBA teams to finish out a season? Well, what's the point?
Yeah, I remember though. Wasn't the Pelicans making a move toward the 8th spot?
Yeah, them, the Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, but
yeah, you're gonna have players or you're gonna have teams where people are gonna say, well, yeah, we should at least have 4 or 5 games or 10 games, or we should get a chance to, get that last playoff spot. Because now you have to deal with players that they're either going to deal with, okay, our season is over, we're not making the playoffs, or they're going to say, we still want to have a chance at winning a championship. We're getting a chemistry, or we're just getting a good chemistry. We still want to have a shot, and we win 2 or 3 games, and this other team loses a couple games, we may have a shot. Like, that's a lot of stuff that they got to talk about, man. Like, everybody has to come to one agreement. I think it's going to take them a while to do that. Not too long, but not fast enough for them to be ready in June or July.
Yeah, and I agree. It's like, you can have the season bleed into July. They already moved the draft back. So, we'll see how things shake out for the NBA. It's just, I don't know, just everything is coming to a hot mess right now. And hopefully, they're all these guys will figure it out. Hopefully. Or before we get out of here, we think about this idea to maybe like keep the NBA calendar in sync somewhat. Just have the top 4 teams of each conference put in the playoffs, have 7-game series, like semifinals and conference finals, and then go to the finals. What do you think about that idea?
It's not bad. It's a good idea. The only thing about this is you have to have every every team at some point is going to have to come to that agreement. I think that this final decision will be said by owner and the coach or general manager of the front office. Now, I think the players will also have their say-so, but I'm thinking that they, come in there and say, hey, well, this is how we feel about it. This is what we want to do. Are y'all okay with that? Or this is how we want to approach it? Usually with the format being 8 teams originally, if you come back and say, well, we're only going to put 4, now you got to have, teams sitting at 5 down to come to this agreement. Well, we weren't going to make it anyway, or we're prepared for next year. So I think that's the only thing. Like, that's a solid idea. I'm pretty sure they have all these ideas. It's just now that freedom of speech part comes in to where every team are going to have their different way of how they want to approach, this year. I mean, it's good for everybody to say, yeah, we want to come back and play and all this other stuff. But let's be honest, they're playing for 2 things, salary and championships.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 important things that they have to actually say, okay, let's come to an agreement on these 2 things and then say, all right, now we can move forward with everything else. But if they're still trying to figure out, okay, well, how many teams actually go to the playoffs, or, like the Knicks. The Knicks know damn well they don't have no chance to win the championship. So if they would have come up and said, well, we should finish the season out because we want to have a chance to go to the playoffs, like, let's be real. Not going to happen.
No.
But, yeah, you have teams sitting at 7 or 8 or 9, or like you said, even at 5 or 6. They coming out with these formats. It can cause a bunch of issues. It's going to, well, not necessarily cause issues, but everybody's going to have how they feel about it. And everybody has, like I said, they have their right to feel that way. So these are all the things that have to be figured out for the season to come back. So that's why it's like, if it do come back, I'm saying if I had to put my money onto it, I would say maybe September, maybe August. But that's a dangerous game to get into, because if you get into it with the NFL there too, and college football.
I'll share some with you about the college football idea after the show, but for me, I think they get things up and rolling by June. I really can't say when, but I say they get up and rolling by June, and just hope for the best. Only reason I bring up the 4-team type of deal is because, if you keep it at like those top 4 teams at each conference, you're not flying a whole bunch of teams and stuff like that. The NBA can say, well, we'll just worry about player safety, so we're just going to cut, just keep take the top 4 teams of each conference and bring them to Las Vegas. And, don't have a whole bunch of people and all that stuff here and there. That's my only thought process of doing that. They can like cite, player safety, quote unquote, or, public safety. And like, we're not going to have all these guys and, gals that work within the teams there.
Yeah. It's just so much that they have to figure out. So I think they will get it done. It's just, wait for things to clear up, and you can see how they're slowly opening up different things that they're trying to get the season back, which is cool. It's just, we talked about more cases being in Texas.
Correct.
Yeah. So like, I have to look up and double check, and maybe if Texas had they opened up things a little early, but that could be the reason why the cases have increased. So rushing, I love sports, but to rush to get things could hurt more than harm. So it's like I said, it's important. It's something that they're going to have to come to an agreement with. But and then let's not forget, the season starts back up in October.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, it's interesting, man. We definitely going to see what happens.
And as basketball fans, ladies and gentlemen, we hope things get back up and rolling. But like you mentioned, D-Lock, we don't see nobody get sick and nothing like that. I mean, we already seen several NBA players had the coronavirus, so we don't want to see that again. Change can happen to these guys, so
let's not forget. This is how it all started. So we can't forget. Not necessarily to blame Gobert, but remember the last time we talked about basketball as much, we seen Gobert rubbing the tables.
Yeah.
So so that's why I don't think they rushed it as fast. They're probably taking it very precautionary.
Yeah. So, hopefully, they take their precautions and stuff like that. Hopefully the Gobert stuff is like swept under a rug. Because, I'll say this in defense. I think the league's going, the way things will lean towards, I think they're going to shut down within a couple of days anyways. But, what happened in OKC with Jazz and the Thunder, this kind of accelerated things to a point. But that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to us tonight. I know some of y'all are watching The Last Dance right now. And we're going to try and catch that. D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You guys can definitely find me at Black-813 on YouTube. Actually, I'm sorry, not on YouTube, on Instagram and Twitter. I'm actually firing back up my YouTube channel that I've got everything situated, so you can find me there. Spelling out my first name and last, Dentarius Lock. And we're covering a lot of things, so you guys can definitely find me there. Let them know what they can find.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Crooks Process. You can check me out on there. I'll be on there. You can find me on Twitter at Spawn42 as well. Also, check out our Twitter page on the Fast Break Twitter page. Just type in Fast Break on Twitter, and then you'll see our names on the profile image. So please check that out as well, and follow us on there. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all next week when, I guess going over the Last Dance episodes, and hopefully hear some basketball news, because after that, it's kind of dead in the water right now.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll definitely catch up with you guys.
But we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
All right.